Hello everyone. Today in our series of Docplexus interviews, we have with us Professor K.V. Vishwanath. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. He's a professor of health communication in the Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences at the Harvard School of Public Health. Thank you so much once again for joining us. So can you please tell us about the current trends of public health policy in US?
Well, I think so. The reigning issue for policy right now is the what will happen to the Affordable Care Act, which covers the insurance of Americans with the new president and the new administration. So that is possibly the single most critical issue that we are all facing, given that almost 20 million people are still uninsured in the US. That's our serious concern. Second is non-communicable diseases, particularly around what we call as energy balance, which is nutrition and physical activity. Cancer continues to remain an important issue, particularly given the new developments such as vaccination and the confusion around screening guidelines. So these are some of the issues. And then occasionally you have these threats of infectious diseases like Ebola, Zika, etc., or H1N1.
So, what are the cost effective methods for evaluating public health interventions to incorporate disease prevention and promote health?
Right. Well, there's no single one cost effectiveness method. What we are trying to do, in fact, I just had a discussion with some Indian colleagues at lunch. We are running a series of comparative effectiveness studies which will allow us and help us identify which are the more useful interventions. For example, immunization and vaccination are indeed cost effective, right, and significantly efficacious, effective, scalable, implementable interventions that we have ever done. Providing clean drinking water, taking major environmental steps so that we can minimize pollution. So these are some of the very cost-effective interventions at the in fact, I'm going to talk about it today. I think what we do is take what we call as a multi-level approach, where we focus all the way from policy to communities, to societies, to groups of people, including community-based organizations who can work in concert with each other to address some of the problems we are facing.
So, what do you think? The burden of illness and research investments have increased.
Right.
So, do you think pharmaceutical companies can help reduce this burden?
They could, but pharmaceutical companies are in the area of business, so they need to monetize their investment. So there's a huge debate going on. So I think pharmacy and pharmaceutical industries invest in places where they have a potential market and eventually find some kind of a blockbuster. But that tends to ignore orphan diseases where there are very small pockets of people suffering from it, who will make the necessary research and development investment into it and then bring it to a market. Bringing a drug into a market costs somewhere around $2 billion, I heard, or something like that. So the question then is, who will invest in that, and will pharma be interested in that kind of a investment where the yield may or may not be there at the end of the day. And then the other big challenge is the precision medicine movement. I think if we do develop drugs based on genetic signatures, then how are we going to finance it? And because the scale becomes a big issue.
Definitely.
It's effective. So these are some of the issues that are not easy to resolve.
So, what are your views on an online professional network of doctors like Docplexus? Can it help generate awareness among doctors and help in online education?
Right. It depends. Again, doctors are very busy people. The challenge is whether they have the time to read the journals we all talk about evidence-based medicine, and that is, I think, the right way to talk about it. But if it makes it easy for them to get the information they need at the time they need, I think it could be a very potent platform for them. So,
Thank you so much for speaking
you're
with us
welcome.
today.
Of course.
To stay updated on our latest KOL videos and interviews, please follow us on Twitter, like us on our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Happy Docplexing!